¿Qué lo que mi gente? Aquí estamos. We have Andrea, Viejo, but you're very young. So
Yes.
growing up, I imagine that the Viejo was something that would get poked at, I imagine.
Actually, Viejo came from it's Spaniard.
Right.
So my background is Cuban and Ecuadorian, and so my great grandparents were from Spain, and so I guess that came from that section of the family. But you know what? It makes me unique, and even
No.
though when I was younger, people would make fun of me with my last name, but hey, I'm unique and I love it.
Yeah. And you went to school here in Miami?
I actually did. I actually was born and raised in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and I started in San Elizabeth Elementary,
Mm-hmm.
but at the age of 8, I came down to Miami, Florida, and I went to Sweetwater Elementary,
Right.
and then for middle school and high school, I went to Doral Academy.
So you definitely had a very Miami experience growing up,
Absolutely,
without a doubt.
absolutely,
So from New York here to Miami, I know we connected on Instagram, and that's pretty cool because we haven't met until today,
exactly.
right? And what really intrigued me about your page is your mission and how you connect with the youth. So I really want to learn a little bit about you, about your story, and kind of how you made Andrea Believes Foundation. I said that correct, right?
Yes.
Okay, Andrea Believes Foundation. So how did I guess let's start from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right? How you grew up, the challenges that you faced. I don't know your story yet, but I know that has a part to do in how you developed your nonprofit.
Absolutely, Nadira, and thank you so much for having me here today. I always had a passion for service, and at the age of 12, actually, I went to a service project with my science club from Doral Academy, and I went into the Ronald McDonald's house, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I love giving back. I love the feeling of making a difference in our community.
Yeah.
And little by little, I came home and I'm like, Mom, let's do an activity for the Ronald McDonald's house. Let's do something. So I started off really small. Like I went to color with the kids. So my passion started there. When I entered the Ronald McDonald's house. And unfortunately, at the age of 16, I stepped into the shoes of a patient.
Mm.
And that's when the story really hit home.
Yeah.
I was actually diagnosed with a unoperable brain tumor.
I
That
really couldn't tell. Like you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you hear those things and then you're like, and that'll affect you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Like if you didn't tell me that, I would have never known.
Yeah, and
Mm.
you're not the only person who has told me that, and
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful to say that with my positive energy and my attitude,
Yeah.
I've accomplished. I've gotten to go through this
Yeah.
situation in my life, and I at the age of 16, I did get a biopsy done, and doctors did mention to me that I am the only human being at my age to have that type of tumor, which is it's kind of concerning to me, and it it's very very sad when it comes to your parents knowing what you have.
Claro, it's devastating.
So, but nothing,
No, it's
I
not nothing. No, it's not nothing. But
I
you maintained um positividad and how you approached it. You know what I mean? So when you discovered that information, like what was the first thing you did?
imagínate at the age of 16, I'm just like, Mom, let's just do what we have to do. I'm like,
Pa'lante.
let's do the biopsy, let's see what comes out. I'm thankful to God that it's not cancerous, but I do have to live with a daily challenge, which is my loss of balance.
Hmm.
And doctors can't really tell me what the future holds as far as what other challenges I was going to come across. But I continued my journey of service. I kept on going. I didn't have Andrea Believes Foundation back then,
Yeah.
but I would always say, "Hey, Andrea Believes is coming," because it's always been a dream of mine to have
So
my.
even before you found that out, you knew that you wanted to go into something with service, something in this nonprofit space, or was it because nonprofits and other kind of entities cambian. So but you just wanted to help. You just wanted to always be in that kind of capacity.
Yeah, and that time I was just so young. I mean, I knew that I loved to give back. In my head, I did not, think about having a nonprofit, which is a 501c3, and the process is very long.
Yeah.
But during the years, with the impact that I've made in our community, a lot of people have told me, Andrea, why don't you open your nonprofit? Because you have a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And I did, and I established it in 2022. Um, but before that, I came across another challenge in my life, and unfortunately, the tumor had affected my hearing, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm like another challenge that I have to overcome.
Overcome.
And it was very unfortunate to me as a 30-year-old. You don't want to be getting hearing aids,
Yeah.
but I did, and it was it was tough on me and my parents as well and my family. But I never lost hope. I never lost hope, and I always said, you know what, mom and dad, this is just another little piece of my story
Yeah.
that I have to share with others to inspire and motivate, because you never know the person next to you
What
is
they're going
going
through.
through something similar or something, worse.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your mindset. I'm actually really interested in before you faced these challenges, how your mindset was, and how going through this, I guess, changed the way how you saw yourself and how you viewed your mission. Because I can imagine that you had this desire to be of service, but once this happened to you, I bet it like made the engine go faster, right?
Yes, I mean, we always have our ups and downs. I I have a mindset. I've always had a mindset of positivity. Um,
But I can
actually,
imagine you've been sad before. I can imagine
oh
that
yes,
you sometimes look yourself in the mirror and you're like, "Cojon, am I enough?" Or like, "Man, how am I gonna get over this?" Like, it's so that's only human.
absolutely. And you know what? I'm not afraid to say, but recently, actually, this in the beginning of this year, I fell into a depression, and right away I communicated that to my parents, and I said, listen, I'm gonna go get help, because I'm not tremendously like depressed, but
Yeah,
something's going on, and I just need to find help. And I say this to you not because I want you to feel bad for me or anything like that, but I know that there's a lot of individuals who who are afraid to say, hey, like, I'm depressed, or hey, like, I'm going through
I'm not
this.
myself right now.
But
Yeah.
as an individual, I looked for help, and I can honestly tell you that I'm back at 110. I went to therapy, and back in July is when I went back to all my activities, and I had more motivation. And I'm just so grateful, because I always say that God puts us in challenges because He knows that we can
Yeah.
overcome them, and that's what I did. And so now, I believe that my story can, get out there more, and inspire and motivate not only the youth but individuals who are going through different situations, and they don't even know what to do. And then when they see this, me talking here about my story,
Yeah.
they're like, wow, I can do that. I can possibly, do something like Andrea.
You touched upon therapy, and I wanted to bring up the mental health stuff after. We kind of talked about it, but I'm not afraid to say that I've gone to therapy too, and I definitely, and I think there's a gendered factor in there too, because como un hombre, they no, you can't talk about your feelings, or no, no one's gonna care, and I felt that, kind of growing up very Cuban. You're
Hmm.
taught que el hombre tiene que aguantar el palo, que like you're just not, you can't have these feelings, and if you do, put them inside and forget about them.
Yeah,
And then
no.
not only that, I guess when you interact with people, and again, I don't want to make this gendered, but I sometimes feel like nobody cares about men problems, and I tell my lady all the time, I'm like, Mina, lady problems, they're marketable. You market them to me, you market them outwards, but men problems very hard to market. But no, I did therapy too, and what I liked the most about it was that I could offload on somebody who's not going to judge me. Because I feel like
Exactly.
even if it's your parents, even if it's your partner, it's very hard to sometimes have these delicate conversations. Like, well, if I'm telling the therapist that I have a problem with you and I'm telling you to you, you're going to be a little biased.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel you. I mean, we have so much. I have so much. Oh, well, me and I hope you as well. We have so much support at home, but sometimes it's better to express yourself and just open up to someone that you don't know. It kind of like, it's kind of like weird because it's like you're talking to a stranger,
But it's comforting.
but you feel comfortable
Yeah.
because you can express yourself. And I honestly tell you that I loved it. I connected well with my therapist, and she's like, Andrea, like, she actually texted me like a month ago, and she's like, Andrea, are you coming back? And I'm like, no, actually, I'll get back to you,
Yeah.
because
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
I'm like, I just feel amazing.
Yeah.
I'm in a point in my life where I feel grateful with the opportunities and the support that the community has given to me and to my foundation. I'm grateful that I'm willing to show my impact that I'm doing in the community. With all the little projects that I do, people have seen the impact, and that's when they support you. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, yeah, I'm just super grateful.
In so you get this news at 16. And you keep you keep doing your thing, you keep living your life. Is there a moment, like an actual instance, where you can reflect back and say, this is where the change happened within me? Was it a moment? Was it a like a series of events, or was it kind of like a then after kind of situation?
I want to say that it's like a moment. It's a feeling.
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's a feeling that you feel accomplished. You feel that you've made an impact, and I feel like that moment happened to me back in July. When I'm like, okay, so God gave me a purpose. Why am I feeling this way? I started to reflect. I started to tell myself, listen, Andrea, you're the boss. Like, you need to have that mindset. Even though, I mean, I don't like to say it, but
No, you do.
you
No,
need
no, no. Say it.
you no.
Say it. Say it. No, say it.
So you need to have that mindset, like, I'm the boss, and I have to go out there in the community and think like a boss, because that mindset is going to lead you into making a bigger impact. Obviously, I don't, like I said, I don't like to say that I'm the boss, but that mindset really helped me get through it. And when I started to have that mindset, I went back full ride. I got back to my foundation. I felt very comfortable in my job. So it's all about the mindset. Keep it positive. Think like a boss.
I think we share something, not so much in our personal, but I guess in our work life, where you said something that really just stuck out with me, which is I don't like to say that I'm the boss. I'll give you a couple anecdotes here. So you, in your capacity, you probably have help, right? That you recruit, that you train, and you yourself, being the founder, you probably do the exact same tasks they do. And you probably, from what I gather, don't like to put up this corporate veil of I'm here and you're here. And that's why you don't like saying that you're the boss.
Exactly. And it's funny you say that, because I've had many opportunities in my life, and I I never saw anyone less than me or greater than me. And that's something that my mother has always taught me. Because in your professional life, you need to respect everyone in the same
Yeah.
manner. I've had many professional opportunities in my life. I've gotten from being a coordinator to now being a manager. But at the end of the day, we are all on the same level. Pretty example. I mean, I go into work and I see the cleaning lady. Buenos días, señora, ¿cómo estás? Like, how's your day going? And little things like that it's what's needed in society.
Yeah.
I hate to have a high ego. I know that I do a lot for the community, and people look up for me. But at the end of the day, I'm just Andrea Viejo. That's it. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you if you need it at my best abilities. But at the end of the day, I'm just a normal person, a 32-year-old, young lady who just wants to make a difference in the community, which is something that we can all do. And I'm just here to guide you if you ever need like guidance.
The reason I bring up the whole boss thing is because I would tell my canvassers, I was like, it's very colloquial. What's up, boss? Get with that. You know what I'm saying? It's very colloquial in how we speak. And I'll tell them, no, don't call me that. And they were like, but why? And one of the things that I learned at FIU in my business class was there's this thing called the agent principal complex. And that's pretty much capitalism. That's pretty much American corporate structure, right? Like the principal's the boss or the founder, and the agent is the employee or the worker. So this constant push and pull of the boss's interest versus the employee's interest. So the point is, I always tell them, don't call me that. Just call me my name, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna go out and knock doors with you. Like just because I pay you, just because I might have started this, doesn't mean that I'm above the work that got us here. You know what I mean? So I think that when you kind of make that distinction, whether we mean to or not, eso crea división. You
Exactly,
know what I mean? The
exactly.
labeling of it. And yeah, you're the boss. So am I.
Yeah,
Pero you
perfect
can't, yeah.
example. Perfect example. I mean, I have volunteers, I have interns in my
Mm-hmm.
foundation, and they all have amazing and great ideas. And they come up to me and they're like, Andrea, what do you think about this? And I'm like, whatever you, if you think it's a good idea, that's why don't we try it out? No, 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 because you're the boss. And right there, I'm just like, no, no,
No,
no,
we got to
no.
cut that out.
I'm not the boss. I might be the founder of this nonprofit, but I respect your idea. And I feel that we need to put it into test because in life, we have ups and downs. Things are sometimes they're not going to work. But if you don't try, how are we going to know?
Yeah.
So don't call me boss. I am your friend. I am,
First name.
your
Just
mentor.
first name.
I am Andrea.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something that my volunteers have seen from me, and that is called true leadership. And I'm so happy to say that my foundation has grown tremendously, especially in the support where I have established a relationship with the youth. And little by little, I see more and more interns in my foundation where they take initiative to lead groups, let's say at the Ronald McDonald's house, where they take 10 students and they lead it. Oh, Andrea, but I need you there. No, 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 you don't need me there. I've trained you. You take
Yeah.
this initiative.
It's also a big part of trust as well that you build because, for example, when you empower somebody, they don't feel como like, oh, me está vigilando, or like you have this like oversight. And that I feel is a big issue in these kind of like work environments where the intern or the person actually doing the labor doesn't feel like what I tell my folks here is that when you feel that you have ownership, you're gonna work better, you're going to try more because you feel something for it. Si tú no eres dueño, like why? Like why am I gonna go to work for the man, so to speak, and give it my all when I'm getting nothing in return?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wanna ask you about well, obviously what your organization does, but before I get there, I want to kind of go into where do you find that motivation? Is it intrinsic? Is it extrinsic? Can you point your motivation or that drive to what happened to you when you were 16? Was it always there? That was my question earlier. Like, did that moment, I guess, push forward what was already there? Or do you feel that that was like, okay, now I have to do this because I don't know what might happen in my life?
Absolutely. I feel that service was always in me. But truly when these challenges came about, it came to me that this is my purpose. And I have to follow my purpose and stay focused because a lot of people are depending on me to help them and to lead them into service. Either if it's a volunteer or an adult that wants to get involved. But not only that, I mean, there's a lot of individuals out there that's, for example, the homeless. The homeless has seen the work that I've done. We go on a monthly basis to feed them. And every time that we go, it's like we're family. They hug me. They're like, Andrea, you're here. Oh my goodness. And that to me fills my heart. I feel like everyone has a purpose. And my purpose is to serve. Whether it's locally, internationally, but I'm here to serve my community as much as possible. And that's my purpose. And I'm so happy and honored to say that at the age of 32, I found that purpose. And that's what God wants me here for. And I do that through my job. I do that through my foundation. I do that on my daily life because I'm a very kind and giving person. And a lot has to do with the way my parents raised me. My parents have always been very supportive. They have taught me to be kind, to be humbled, and I thank them for that every day. Because as an only child, as only niece and only granddaughter,
Yeah.
You have a lot of eyes on you. Let's say, right? But I'm just so thankful to have that support from everyone, my aunt, my grandparents, my mom, my dad, and yeah, it's bittersweet. Yeah.
I feel that. So in your foundation, what is the purpose? I know that you provide mental health resources for youth and adolescents, but I feel like, especially for somebody who has no idea how that works,
Mm-hmm.
right? How does that manifest? Is it that you provide counseling? Do you just have a friend? Like, hey, we're here, we're gonna talk to you. Like, how does that actually, how do you execute that?
So we do a lot of activities that help with mental health. And that's when I have a huge passion for mental health. I have a huge passion for children and adolescents. So then that's when the mission comes in, the mission is to create a positive impact in the community through mental health initiatives. And so little by little, I started to notice that we don't only help in mental health, but we help in other ways. So, but every project that we have, like we really do focus on how to make that person better. And that's all mental health.
How you see yourself, kind of how you interact with your environment.
Exactly. Whether it's going to the Ronald McDonald's house and doing a painting activity. Art therapy is really important in people's lives, and it really shows during the activity. It really shows how much of an impact it has on children. I'm not a therapist. I'm not.
I honestly thought that you were. Yeah, like just looking at everything, I was like, oh no, she's probably like background in psychology, like like she does sessions.
Actually, my background is I have a bachelor's in health service administration with a minor in psychology, and my master's is in public administration with a certification in human resource management. But everything's psychology. And I worked in psych for 2.5 years. That was my first job, which I was a behavioral health tech. I loved it.
RBT? Did I say that right?
I'm sorry?
Was it RBT?
No, actually, actually, it's Nicholas Children's Hospital Psych Unit. I was honored to be employed there after 8 years of volunteering there. I started at a very young age, since the age of 14, to volunteer at the hospital and to give back, and also got the opportunity to work there for about 6 years, and worked in different departments. And my first department was the psych unit. And I was in school. I was in Miami-Dade College, getting my associates. And I would go to school Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I would dedicate myself to working in the department, 16-hour shifts every day.
And when do you have fun?
I'm sorry?
I know that's fun for you, but like when do you be social, like in a, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, tú me dejes todo all day long?
Well, back then, I mean, I wasn't really social. I mean, I was really focused. I've always been very focused. Mm-hmm. But during the years, I came to realize that there's time for everything.
Right.
So I'm guilty enough to say that I run on a calendar base.
Also, you just put everything on a calendar and you follow it to a T.
So if you're not on my calendar, I'm sorry.
No worries, Leia. I feel like I should be a little bit more like that. I just kind of like, oh, what are we doing today? Like,
It's funny
Yeah.
because I have like the minor things on my calendar because God forbid I
You don't have
forget.
like eat, right? It's
No.
not not like that, right?
Well, I do have lunchtime.
Ah, no,
Ev-
your shit probably fucking
no, lunchtime is every time
yeah,
12 to 1.
yeah.
Monday through Friday, and then I love to spend time with my family. So, yeah, Saturday and Sunday I try my hardest to, if I have a service project going on, I'm just like, "Mommy, Bobby, like let's do it right after the service
Yeah.
project or
This is
right
the time
after,
I got. This is what we
like you got this time frame."
yeah.
And then, but they're super supportive, like I said, like I mentioned before, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah. We good? Oh, we keep going? Okay, thank you, Sam. Hey, where would you say is the most need? Because you operate in youth. Is it a specific age group that you'd say that has more need than the others, like, or is it kind of evenly spread out? And then I want to talk to you a little bit about like social media and just todo esto, because I feel like being a kid now is way harder than being a kid like 20 years ago.
As far as the need, I mean, I do help out with the high schoolers mostly because they do have a high school requirement for community service hours. So that's how I support them. And I'm honored to say that, a lot of the parents have supported me, especially now with Give Miami Day.
Hmm.
We made about, I believe like a little less than $3,000, where I'm super happy because we're going to make such an impact in our community for next year. And these kids, they need community service hours, but I always tell them, listen, I know you need community service hours, but I want to see that moment where you tell me, Andrea, I just want to go because i
To go.
because I want to go,
Yeah.
because I want to make a difference. And I have people like that. I have people like that, but my goal is to have them all tell me, Andrea, no, I want to go because it comes from my heart.
Me sale.
Yeah. Pero I also understand the requirement from high schoolers. I was there back then, and but that's my goal, and I want to achieve it, and hopefully I'm gonna achieve it this year. So.
Tuawi. Now, in the topic of mental health, and I feel like sometimes it's a bit taboo to speak about this, but I appreciate you opening up and sharing your story. So I think it's kind of not awkward, but at least for me, talking about the moments that I felt down or talking about the moments where I felt inadequate, I think comes in waves. Like it starts with like a little bit of self doubt that then goes into like maybe I didn't accomplish or achieve what I set out for myself. And then I myself am hard on me. Then I go on my phone and then I start doom scrolling on Instagram. And then I look at all the positivity and accomplishments somebody else did. And then I start comparing myself to what I did versus what they did. And then I'm like, man, I ain't shit. Man, I'm the worst.
No,
You know,
no.
but I can imagine that is similar to some adolescence experiences, especially now in an era with social media and an era where it's very hard to have private things, you know?
Absolutely,
So I feel like now
absolutely.
we've made public things that maybe shouldn't be public, and the private stuff, reverse, like the private stuff is now public and the public stuff is now private, you
Yeah.
know? Because there's nothing wrong about talking about how you feel, but I feel there's a resistance to doing that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I'm one of those, as you mentioned. Like I go on social media and I'm like, oh my God, like she's so skinny. Oh my God, like she has a perfect life. But at the end of the day, you have to have that mindset to say, yeah, she has these things, but you never know what she's going through, or you never know, you know, her self esteem. Like, so that's the type of mindset that you need to have to know your worth.
Yeah.
Because we are all equal and we are all special, and we all have a special, unique ability to do things. And so, yeah, I might not be size 2, but at the end of the day, I'm a great person. Just an example,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like, like you mentioned, not I'm not that old, but the youth right now, and especially the high schoolers, they go on social media and they get influenced by these people that are posting anything on social media. And I just hope that at the end of the day, their parents are giving them that support to say, this is not right.
Yeah.
So yes, social media is a huge influence in our youth community right now. I just, I really do hope that they have that support that I had and that you had as well, for people to say, that's not right.
I think what you said about mindset is key for this group now, because
Absolutely.
you you know my, it's it's not that we, like you said, we all have it in us, pero sometimes people have challenges honing that in, or understanding their capabilities and appreciating what they can and can't do.
Absolutely.
So I try to live by a cup half full, because it's the same amount of water, but when you change your perspective to what you don't versus what you do, you live a happier life.
Absolutely.
Because, tú
Absolutely.
sabes, yo a veces I'm like, so I'll tell you a little bit about work, and Kathy and Idalia can definitely resonate. When I get a contract, when I like close a deal, I get turned. I'm like, oh my God, we did it. And it's very loud. It's a very like, and the contrary, when I don't get it, I beat myself up. I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? And it's hard, and I could do a better job at this. It's hard for me sometimes to remind myself my worth when I'm at my low point. You know what's funny? My name Nadir actually means the lowest point of anything.
Oh, really?
So there's two things. There's Nadir, and then there's Zenith. So Zenith is like the highest point, and Nadir is the lowest point. So then imagínate living your whole life being the bottom of the barrel. ¿Tú me entiendes? But I would tell myself that, oh well, okay, that's what my name means, but where's the only place you can go when you're at your lowest?
you
Where's the only
know, that's on.
where's the only place? ¿Qué otra opción yo tengo? ¿Para arriba? You know what I mean?
But you know what, Nadir? You have to think about it. You have to think that you have accomplished so much. You have a broadcast show that you're
It's not that
inspiring.
cool. It's
You're
not that cool.
inspiring and motivating others through your show, and you know, I'm sure that you have other abilities that really do motivate you to continue. And so you should always think like that. You should always think that you are the boss.
Mira, el ego es private, but it's there. It's
Just like
there.
you want me to say that I'm the boss, you're the boss
No.
too. But listen, just think about the positive. When you're thinking, hey, oh my God, I didn't get the contract. Okay, but maybe there's
I beat myself up. I be beating myself
but
up for
maybe
real.
there's two other contracts coming your way
Yeah.
that you don't know of. And that they're more than when you thought. So you have to think that way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have to think like you're the boss.
And then I tell myself sometimes, and I feel like there's a couple of factors in this conversation that we haven't touched upon, which is culture,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's also a little bit of a religious component
Yeah.
too. I would say that growing up, I wasn't a religious person. I wasn't at all. I'm very deeply rooted in science. I'm like Big Bang, like we came from monkeys, evolution. Like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like very pragmatic. The sky's blue. Like I like to understand why things are. But I think as I'm getting older, I've kind of resorted more to religion, and I think that having faith has made it actually a bit easier to accept the good and the bad in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like going to the religious part, I've gotten closer to God. And I always say to myself, well, if this didn't happen, it's because he didn't want it to happen.
But like, and I have to push back just a little bit, because I also feel like God made me in His image. Y yo soy a hustler. So if I didn't get it, it's like, damn, I didn't try hard enough. So you know what I mean? Like when I hear that, like I agree to a certain extent, but it's like I'm in control. Kind of going back to that the boss kind of thing. So it's like I try to not get complacent,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like if I tell myself, "Oh, I've done this, I've done that," then I won't keep trying with this fervor. You know what I mean? Con esa energía. Like I got here because I didn't stop.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe it wasn't the healthiest way of operating, right? Working crazy hours, being hard on yourself, but there was something to be said about doing it that way. And yeah, I've gotten a little bit better, like work boundaries. My lady always tells me, she's like, you have no work boundaries. Me at 2 a.m. writing emails, like, no, there are no
Same,
boundaries.
same here.
But
But listen, like I mentioned to my mom this past week, yo me mato. I
yeah,
am nonstop. But I told her something this week that she was like, wow. She goes, I told her, mami, yo estoy caminando con Dios y estoy caminando porque Él me tiene un propósito de servir a mi comunidad. Y Él me da la energía para continuar y para hacer una diferencia en esta comunidad. I'm always tired. Well, not always, but I don't know where I got the energy from.
it's your conviction,
It's like
which is
I
very
I tell
strong, by the way.
my friends, I'm
Yeah.
like, this week I'm not gonna do anything. Like I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna just relax. And something pops up, and oh, there I go. There I go. Like I have so much energy, and I'm like, where did I get this from? It has to be him, and I'm faithful that it is him. And like I said, I'm walking towards what he wants me to succeed in this life, which is serving my community.
And it's really cool that you have such a strong conviction, because that's, I can imagine that's why to you this doesn't really feel like work.
Exactly.
Because if it felt like a chore, if it felt like, oh my god, I gotta do this, you probably wouldn't do it.
Exactly. And it's funny because I recently moved to FIU as a program manager, and my job is to engage and motivate the youth at FIU to give back to the community. And that is something that I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I come into my office and everything's about service. I'm like, I got home and I'm like, Mommy, espérate. Like, I have like things on the wall that says what is service, like, and then she believed she could, but she didn't. Like those quotes, like they motivated me
Yeah.
during my years of me not being at FIU. It's like I came into the perfect job. You get me? And that was just like another sign of God that tells me, Andrea, you are here to serve. If it's through higher ed, through politics, through anything, but you're here to serve. And you're here to be a good person and be humbled and motivate and engage the community, that no matter what challenge you go through, you keep on going. So, yeah.
Okay, we've talked a bit about kind of how you interact with the community, but how does the community interact with you? Do you feel that there are some individuals that maybe, not that they're not deserving, that's not the word, but is the, what I'm trying to ask is like you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
So I imagine you've come across students that are very resistant.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like very resistant in the programming, very resistant in whatever curriculum you might have. So how do you break those walls? How do you kind of connect with somebody who doesn't want to be connected with, that doesn't want that, tú sabes que se just whatever they're going on, like there's nothing that can connect.
You're always gonna have someone like that, and you're always gonna have someone who is gonna try to put you down, and you're always gonna have someone that looks at the negative of what you're doing. I've come to realize after 32 years that nothing can bring me down. People are gonna try. People are gonna bring me negativity. It's normal, La envidia,
Se my is real.
it's out there, and it's nasty to say. So I do apologize for that, because I don't, as an individual, I've never envied anyone. I've always rooted for them. I've always engaged them to do something that they wanted, or if you're doing something, or you're trying to do a project or something, I'm always there. Hey, like, you got this. I'm always rooting for that person. But then sometimes you don't get that back, and it's okay. I speak a lot to my mom, and she's like my best friend, and I'm like, mami, ¿por qué la gente? Why do people do this? Why? I'm here just giving my good energy, and people just try to put you down. And I'm still looking for the answer. But all I can tell you is that kill people with your kindness.
Mm.
don't let anyone bring you down. And whatever you have in your mind that you want to accomplish, you stay focused. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do anything. Because at the end of the day, you're going to do it. And you're going to accomplish it. And you're going to prove to that person or that individual that nothing can stop you. Because at the end of the day, that person wants to see you on the floor. And it sucks to say, right? Because
That people want, that they want good for you, but not better than themselves.
exactly. And that's society. And my thing is that I want to change society to everyone being humble. It's going to be tough, obviously, because not everyone has the same mindset. But kill them with kindness. That's what I always tell people. If someone is here to bring you down, I always stop them and I'm like, I listen to them. And I'm like, okay, unfortunately, I don't do this way. But thank you for your feedback. I do feel that, this is the way that I want to do it. Or if you don't think that, it's going the right way, then let me fail. Let me fail and I'll get myself back up. But thank you for your feedback. Because I always say you need to hear them out. You need to hear them out and then you make your decision. And if you fail, you get back up. What's the big deal? But envidia is so much out there. It's very nasty. And I'm just here to change that. To change that perception of individuals. Because at the end of the day, and I'm talking more about nonprofits. At the end of the day, nonprofits should come together to unite.
Yeah, but I imagine there's competition even amongst other nonprofits in the space.
It's funny you say that. As a founder,
It's very similar to politics. I can imagine. Okay, yeah, we all have the same goal, but I want to achieve it before you.
And that's funny you say that because this past week, something clicked to my head. I'm like, why don't I make a chat on WhatsApp of nonprofits in Miami-Dade County and bring them together and see how this goes?
It probably didn't go how you thought.
It's going amazing.
Oh, that's refreshing to hear.
It's going amazing.
I would think that people's egos would come before these things.
I'm leading the group, and I specifically say that this chat is to engage and motivate each other, to support each other on everyone's initiatives, and if I come across anything that is negativity, sorry, but you're not part of this chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made a chat just because I wanted to bring nonprofits together. That's the goal. Because I know that Furanita has a nonprofit that focuses on domestic violence. Maybe she needs, I don't know, maybe she needs coloring books for therapeutic activities. Mm-hmm. I have coloring books. I can go ahead and provide that. At the end of the day, nonprofits, they have to come together. And we need to work together because that way we can make a bigger impact.
I wish politics was like that.
No, it's not going to be like that.
No, it's a whole different... Do you watch Game of Thrones? You watch Game of Thrones?
I'm sorry?
Do you watch Game of Thrones or have you seen it?
I don't.
Oh my god. I have like this like super elaborate metaphor how like Game of Thrones and Miami are like the same thing. Okay, basically the show is about like these different families and Miami is families that run things. So in Game of Thrones, instead of like the Starks versus the Lannisters, it's like Jimenez versus Suarez versus Regalado. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like all these dynasties that kind of like beef with each other, but they might marry each other and like consecrate it's literally like just like Game of Thrones. It's crazy. Okay. What does the future have in store for Andrea Believes? What are some things that you'd like to develop? What are some challenges that you face now that you plan to overcome?
I can tell you one thing. Next year is gonna be our year. It's gonna be our year in the sense that we are going to make triple the impact. Starting with a mental health project that I have in mind. It's called My Miracle Bag, and it's basically a bag where you find therapeutic activities inside. And my goal is to pass it out to 1,000 individuals in our community who are suffering from depression and anxiety. That's one. Another project of mine that I have in mind is we're going to be sponsoring an activity room for Nicholas Children's Hospital Psych Unit. And my role will be to make sure that closet has necessary activities to help the kids inside the unit. And also, aside from activities, I'm going to be able to collect underwears. because believe it or not, there's a lot of foster kids who come into this unit without underwears. And in the hospital, they provide the gown, but what about the underwear? You need to feel comfortable. And so I've accomplished two drives during my years of service, where I collected almost 1,000 underwears for these kids, and I want to bring that back. I want to bring that back, and I want to have a section in that room where they would have necessary underwears for any child who needs it. And just also connecting with the cities, connecting with other individuals, supporting one another. We have a huge support right now of Dímelo 305. So yesterday,
I've seen them. They're
yes,
cool.
yeah. So they're actually doing a toy drive, and yesterday our foundation donated over 500 toys to them, and it was so rewarding and so heartful of having that opportunity to give back to another person. And not only that, but you're helping that individual make an impact in the community, you know. So that's my goal. And continue with Ronald McDonald's House, continue with the homeless drives, and inspire and motivate my interns to take lead on other activities. We also do a lot for the homestead community, the immigrants, and I want to be more active in that aspect. And just bringing awareness of our foundation is another goal of mine. For people to get involved and reach out to us and just say, hey, I want to donate, or hey, I want to volunteer. Because at the end of the day, that's our goal, to bring the community together to make a bigger impact.
Yeah. Well, Andrea, I wish you the best.
Oh,
I know
thank
you're gonna
you.
do it. And not only that, like I can just looking into your eyes, I can see the conviction just like coming out of you. You know what I mean? And like I think it's in these kind of like spaces, whether it's like the politics, whether it's the nonprofit space, which by the way, I don't know anything about nonprofits, but there's a lot of intersection between the politics and the nonprofit. And I've found that the people that last the longest are the people que lo sienten. And not only that, like people can see when you are authentic and when you're not, you know? And that's why people gravitate towards you. That's why people do it. And man, your story is very unique, and you have a tremendo outlook on it, right? Cuz I can tell you there's a lot of people who would have given up. There's a lot of people who would have said woe is me, and that's the reason why I didn't. But you made that the reason that you did, and I congratulate you on that.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much
Mhm.
for having me here. It's such an honor to be part of your broadcast. And
Thank you, thank you.
I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you, for growth.
You call it broadcast, and I'm like, man, you make it sound way cooler than it is when you say that. Like broadcast, who we broadcasting to?
Listen, it's all about the mindset.
See, no, for sure. I was like, okay. Where can our peoples find you?
So you guys can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Andrea Believes Foundation, or you can follow. You can go on our website, andreabelievesfoundation.net.
Alrighty, Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Claro
much.
que sí.